We've now gotten a tremendous amount of experience with Mongo and Mongoose, saving data, editing data, querying for data, all that kind of good stuff. But we're still missing a little bit of a piece out of the bigger picture here. We never would use Mongo alone to build a web application. We're always going to end up having a server of sorts in front of it. So in this section, we're going to figure out how Mongo fits into the larger backend stack of a typical API that we might build. So in this section, we're going to build an API of sorts that might serve up data to any arbitrary front-end framework or technology you might want to use. So we're going to build a server that you could use with React or Angular or an iOS application or an Android application. Any type of front-end app you might want to put in front of this thing, it's going to work with perfect compatibility. So let's talk a little bit about exactly what we're going to be building. We're going to make an API that would serve up a sort of application that we might use for Uber. If you've ever used Uber or heard of Uber before, or its very similar equivalent Lyft, Uber is a ride-hailing application, and we'll talk exactly how it behaves in just a moment. For right now, let's focus a little bit more on exactly what we're building, or the pieces of the puzzle that are going to form this API. For the application we're going to build, we're going to be making the entire back-end stack. So we are going to imagine that some front-end framework, like React or Angular or an iOS application, is going to make an API request to the backend that we're going to put together. So we're going to put together a Node and Express server. That's going to be our web server, which is going to take some number of incoming requests. That Node and Express server is then going to interface directly with our MongoDB database. And it's going to work with a single collection of data that's going to sit inside of our database, which we're going to refer to as the drivers collection. So remember, in the context of Uber as an application, it's all about hooking up users or people who are looking to get a ride with people who are driving cars around, who we will refer to as drivers. So the API that we're going to be putting together and the different routes that we're going to be putting together are going to be all about working with this collection of drivers that are going to be stored inside of our MongoDB database. So let's take a quick break and then come back and talk a little bit about how this API is going to behave and what different operations we're going to need to work with a collection of drivers.